Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show, where we discuss culture, news, politics, and more. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to tell your friends and family about the revolution. What's up, everyone? What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to join the revolution. I hope you guys like that ridiculous intro I did. It's just silly. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Please share this with all your friends and family on every social media platform. It's the only way we will grow, and I really appreciate every single one of you that has the cojones to be able to do stuff like that, because in today's culture, you're going to face backlash no matter who you support. I mean, you can support the most milquetoast, independent news channel, political commentary, just cultural commentary person, and people are going to lose their freaking minds no matter what, because that's what we're about. We're just about losing our minds, and we all support it because the algorithm loves it. The Taliban are painting over George Floyd murals. They're not as woke as we were promised. Who cares? I just thought that story was freaking hilarious, and it made me laugh. Let's get into some real news. Chicago, over this weekend, Chicago was Chicago as we know it. 63 people were shot this Labor Day weekend. 60 freaking 3, including 8 children. It's like more than most school shootings, or all school shootings. But I'm talking about the children. 8 children dead. Is the media losing their minds? Are they talking about what's going on in Chicago? Why is Lori Lightfoot such a piece of crap? Why are the police... What's going on with the police there? Are they just demoralized? Are they not being helped? What's going on there? No one's talking about this whatsoever, as usual, because 63 people were shot. Oh, it's Chicago. Let Chicago be Chicago. Chicago doesn't have a gang or, we could go into the cultural thing. They don't have that kind of problem. It's a gun problem. It's these guns. They're out of control. They're shooting people with no moral compass. 63 people were shot. I just thought I should bring that up because, we're obsessed with talking about Joe Biden's gaffes and stuff like that. And they're funny and they're sad because it's an old man just losing his mind. But stuff like this is actually happening in today's cities, and no one's talking about it because, cities are just run by Democrats always. And the answers to these problems don't actually solve anything. As always, she's more concerned about her political party and having little dinners and functions and having her little moment. She wants to be another political influencer because that's what it's all about. It's all about being a political influencer and having your gotcha moment and sticking it to the man and stuff like that instead of actually solving real problems. Let's get into some of what I wanted to really talk about is Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's back. Thank freaking God. The stars have aligned. The clouds have parted, and they've shown our bright, beautiful young man's son, Jimmy Kimmel's back. The man show himself, the show where at the end of the show, when I was really young, would have women in bikinis jumping on trampolines, has turned social justice warrior, because that's how it works in today's world. He's not funny anymore. And I don't understand how these late-night comedian hosts can call themselves comedians, for one. And also, late-night comedy is dead. They're just basically another news channel. What's the difference? They get guests on to talk about. They get celebrities to talk about news. Is that what? I guess that's what late-night comedy is all about these days. Is bring on the hosts. Bring on the social justice warrior host. But let's listen to Jimmy Kimmel. He talked about unvaccinated, vaccinated people, and I think this is important to hear because this is why. You have friends and family that are liberals, or you have neighbors that believe this stuff. They believe it to their core. And you might think it's insane. You might think it's crazy. But it's important to know what's going on in their mind because then you can actually engage in conversation. A lot of my conservative friends are like, I feel like I can't talk to my liberal friend. It's because you're not listening to what they're talking about. It's because you're not reading their news like I do. You're not getting into their mind. The only way to have a conversation with these people, with people nowadays, is to figure out what freaking news source they listen to, and then you can actually engage in a conversation with people. Because I feel like we're coming from like completely different realities in today's world. Those of us that like to think logically, like I prefer myself. I prefer myself. I don't know what this was. I prefer to think of myself as someone who likes to cut through the BS and think logically, because I can't stand BS. I just can't stand political, just discourse and just speaking nonsense for the fact of nonsense. I want to think logically about these issues. I want to engage in conversation, and that's like such a radical idea. You don't belong in any, I don't belong in any camp. I don't belong on this side or this side. Because the minute you feel like I'm on this side, I'm going to go on that side. Because I just want to think logically of these issues. Yes, I have some moral principles that cut through some of the illogical thinking stuff, but that's because of my faith. That's because of my upbringing and stuff like that. But here's Jimmy Kimmel, late night, quote unquote, comedian, host, talking about COVID. And you need to hear this, because this isn't a radical idea to them. This isn't a radical thought process. This is just how a lot of people think, and especially celebrities. And this is allowed on YouTube. This is allowed anywhere else. But I want you to think about where the logic goes. Let's listen to what Jimmy Kimmel, a.k.a. Man Show Man, women jumping on trampolines, wants you to know.
I hope you had a relaxing Labor Day. It was not a fun Labor Day weekend COVID-wise. The number of new cases is up more than 300% from a year ago. Dr. Fauci said...
And again, we're still talking about cases. I thought the cases are going to happen. It's a virus. Things are going to happen. I thought the whole point of this thing was to, stop people from dying. I'm so tired of people not talking about deaths and hospitalization rates. But, let's talk about cases. Because cases are a bigger number, and therefore can create more hysteria and create more fear in people's heart. Ergo, they listen to what you have to say because they're fearful and they don't know how to think for themselves. So they want you to tell them what to think and what to say and how to be safe.
Fun Labor Day weekend COVID-wise. The number of new cases is up more than 300% from a year ago. Dr. Fauci said that if hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
You should die. Jeez. Do you understand where this logic goes? I think you do, because you're a smart person. You listen to me, and you're not just somebody who's just going to take BS and just allow things. But let's talk about where this logic goes, as always. But, logic doesn't have a place in a lot of these people's heads, because it's a lot of their rhetoric and foundation to what they believe is based on emotion. And emotion sometimes can come from logical thinking, but a lot of times it starts out as pure emotion. That's why you have to, when you make decisions in life, use emotion and facts and logical thinking. You want to combine them. You want a healthy balance, because then you can make a good informed decision. You don't want to be too much on the facts, because then you discredit emotions and stuff like that, and you could just be basically an AI computer. And you don't want to go too much on emotion, because you're basically an 8-year-old child. All right? So you have to combine the both. Where does this logic go? Well, what about morbidly obese people? You chose to eat that. You chose to continue to eat ice cream and Snickers and candy and drink booze and eat late at night. And you decided to overeat You shouldn't be allowed to come into the ICU or ER due to your heart condition or heart disease or a heart attack. You need your stent put in. You don't need a stent. Plus, you're unvaccinated. It's a double. What about smokers? You smoked your whole life, and now you have lung cancer? Ugh! You don't deserve to be helped. What about STDs? How did you get the STD? Did it just sneak up on you? I don't think so. What about HIV? Remember that hot button? HIV? What community does that affect the most? Oh, no. But guess what? You gave yourself that. You don't deserve to be helped either. What about alcoholics? Addiction. People with addictions. Alcoholics especially, because alcohol is actually a really terrible drug, and it really ruins people's lives, and it really is addictive, and it's really hard to stop drinking. What about those people? Those people fill up a lot of our ICUs. People that have overdoses, and whose fault is that? It's their decision. They shouldn't be helped either. Maybe we can have a hospital just for people that help themselves. And they're like, I don't know why I'm here. I've eaten healthy my whole life. I've never had a grain of sugar or a thimble of alcohol. I work out twice a day. Those people are the only people in the hospital that should be helped and vaccinated. Did I mention that? Sorry. See, those of us that work in healthcare know about the Hippocratic Oath, know about the reason you get in the healthcare, the reason for healthcare is that you look through the lens of empathy, and you especially look through the lens and you see a person as another human being. And you know what about human beings? We're idiots. We do dumb stuff. We put stuff in our bodies that we know we shouldn't, but we do it anyways because we enjoy it. And that's okay because you're a human being. And you can do dumb stuff and live because you know what? You're free to do whatever you want. You know soda is terrible for you, but your friend gave you a root beer and you're like, I haven't had a root beer in a minute. Let me get a root beer. You know a cigar is terrible for your health, but you're with the bros and you're trying to have a good bro night. You're trying to have a good bro down. And you engage in cigar talk. Some of my favorite times is with a cigar in my hand and either a scotch, whiskey in my other hand. Some of my favorite nights. Is it healthy? Is it a good decision? No! God. But this is what these people are thinking. But they also aren't thinking about logic, because logic would go down that route. And they're not thinking that. All they see is unvaccinated, vaccinated. These people want to live in a country like China where they're just told how to think, how to feel, and who to serve. Who is the person we should prop up in today's culture? Tell us, great state authority, State Department. We need to know. We don't know what to say or think. Fauci, tell us how to act. Obama's party was an okay idea, but the Sturgis bike rally, dear God. Lori Lightfoot had to go to Lollapalooza, but you and that birthday party in your backyard, that is a super spreader event. That's different. Or the kid from Rutgers that's not allowed to take online classes because he's unvaccinated. Because he could spread it to people in his home. Or at a local coffee shop. Make sure to mask up. We're no longer in a reality-based driven world. I know liberals like to pretend like it's these crazy conservatives, these crazy Christian conservatives are so stupid, and they don't think for themselves, and they don't have a mind for themselves, and they don't have any idea. They also don't have degrees. Oh my God, they've never been to college. Well, what happens to those of us that have been to college a couple times, have multiple degrees, and they're still conservative, and they can still think through these issues? And especially when they think logically, scares a shizzle out of them when they hear language like this. We spent all summer. We had a black graduation in Oregon and a regular person, I guess, graduation. We're more divided than ever. And people like him are encouraging division, are encouraging us to divide each other and put each other in these little tribal camps. And here's your vaccinated. And if you're vaccinated, obviously that means you voted for Joe Biden. Obviously it means you believe in the science. And if you're unvaccinated, just like this guy said, you're probably sucking down horse pace on the weekends. I am fearful of where we're going as a culture and as stuff like this continues to be propped up. I am also fearful of seeing more and more doctors say that they're not going to treat or help people who are unvaccinated. There's no empathy in that. There's no seeing the humanistic side of today's problems. Like I said a million times, I help a lot of people who are underprivileged, homeless, that are they're drug addicts. And there's never been a moment in my head where like, God, why don't you just stop smoking crack, you idiot? I'm not going to talk to you anymore because you can't get your life together. You and me need to continue to see people through the lens of empathy and realizing they're humans and they screw up just like we have our whole freaking lives. This is the kind of stuff that's being encouraged by YouTube, being encouraged by the mainstream media, and being encouraged by local news stations. This isn't seen as crazy. I just need you to know that. To us, it's crazy because the logic makes no freaking sense whatsoever. Because you can go down that rabbit hole of, like I said, maybe we'll just have a hospital of people that just take care of themselves. Maybe that's it. But you can't have that because you can't fat shame and you can't, shame people in these other ways. Jimmy Kimmel says that unvaccinated people should just die. What are your thoughts on that? My thought is, Jimmy Kimmel, you're a douche. Have a great day. And as always, I'll see you on the next episode of the Derek O'Shea Show.